Hello guys, it's Dylan and I'm bringing you another Paladins how-to guide. In this video we are going to be going over the champion Moji because on my last video I got this comment right here telling me that they wanted to see a guide on Moji, so this is for you, man. And with that being said, let's get right into things and I'm going to show you guys how to play the champion Moji. Like usual, we are going to be starting off with the champion's abilities before we get into their talents. So, because you know the talents affect the abilities, and Moji's a really interesting champion. So I'm going to combine her primary fire and her secondary fire all into one. Her primary is her familiar spit, and her secondary is her familiar spray. And on screen you can see a demonstration of which is which. The one that is like a stream that does a constant 30 damage and gets you up to the star marker, that is her familiar spray, and her spit is the one that throws it out and does 300 damage when it hits a target. Now individually these aren't very good by themselves, as you can see in the clip, but when you combine them together you can burst down champions for an insane amount of health really fast. And this is the only way you're really going to kill people as Moji, because her other two abilities aren't really, they're more protective and escape kind of abilities. These are the two ways you're going to be killing your opponents. Moji's next ability is her magic barrier ability, and what it does is it puts a shield up in front of her, which makes her unable to take any damage, and any attack that hits her, the person that shot her gets a full star or a full stack. And now what this does is it enables her, as soon as the barrier falls, to be able to hit that person for the 1000 damage that you do when you get a full stack when using her familiar spray. The last ability before we get to her ultimate is her ability Scamper, and this is her movement ability. Now, there's nothing real crazy about this ability, really. It just zooms you out to third person, enables you to go faster. You go forward for 1.5 seconds, and you can really go any, obviously you have to start out forward, but you will go in whatever direction you're pointed when you, if you start going straight but you flick your mouse, you will go in that direction. It's a pretty simple movement ability and overall isn't too special, but it's a decent movement ability. Finally, we have Moji's ultimate, and the way a lot of people refer to it is a worse version of Pip's ultimate. And kinda that's right, kinda it's not. Basically what it is, it's a fusion of Pip's and Drogo's. I compare more to Drogo's because it's a one-shot to any champion. People are saying, oh, it's like Pip's because it turns someone into a thing, but your teammates can't damage the thing, so it's kind of useless to them, whereas with Pip's you can. But basically Moji will use her ultimate, which will shoot forward, and when it hits an enemy, it will turn them into a biscuit, and you will have a little amount of time to run into them. If you run into them, your two dragon heads will grab onto them and break the cookie in half and eat them, which will in turn kill your enemy. And it's not the craziest ultimate, but it's pretty good for winning 1v1s, or if you need to clear a tank off a point and you have a quick opening. Okay, we are going to go over the two talents I find the least effective. Now, obviously you can find uses for all of these talents like with any champion, but with me personally, the last one that we're going to go over is the one I use, and I think it's the one that you should, for the most part, always be using because it enables you to play Moji to the best of your ability. But the first one we are going to be going over is called Snack Attack. And now this talent makes it so when you kill an enemy, it drops a healing pack, and any of your ally champions, you can't pick it up, and any of your ally champions go over it will heal for 900, which is quite a bit of healing, but overall I don't think you get enough value out of it since she's a flanker. It's a cool idea, but I just don't think you get enough value out of it for it to be valuable. And the second one is when you use Scamper, it heals allies within 25 units of you for 600 for 3 seconds. This one's even worse than Snack Attack in my opinion. I really don't see any use for this ability at all whatsoever, so honestly I'm gonna just skip right over it, not really go into detail to it. But now we get on to Boom Boom, which is by far the best talent to use as Moji. And the reason is, when you get those magic marks, it will also damage any enemies within 15 units of the person with the star. And now this might not sound like a lot, but it does 75% of the damage it did to the victim to the champions around it. Say you have a tank with a healer right behind it, if you detonate that on the tank, it will also damage the healer. And then if you get a stack on the healer and the tank, you can burst both of them for like 1,750 damage like that. And honestly, it is a super good ability. This is the ability I always run when I'm playing Moji, and I think you guys should be running it too. Here we go. Now that we have the talents covered as well as the abilities, there's one more thing we need to make before we can jump into the game and play what you have learned as Moji, and that is the loadout. I am going to be going through the loadout I use as Moji. Like I always say, there is preference to everyone's playstyles. That's the beauty of this game. But in case you're wondering, I'm going to be going over the loadout I have and I tend to have success with. Now, the most important card and the first card that I have is reduce your active cooldown by 50% after getting elimination. Now, the issue comes with this is if you are not like a super good Moji player or you can't seem to find eliminations, you're going to be useless to your team. But with this card, once you get those eliminations, you will be flying through the enemy team. And this is helped by the next card, Scoop, which is the reduce cooldown of Scamper. I have it at level 3, which brings it down by 1.2 seconds. Just lets you be able to move around a little quicker, which with Moji, she's kind of slow, so having this movement and ability is good, and having it sooner than later is also good, which is why I have this cooldown, and the 50% cooldown from the last card also helps out. The third card we have going with us is Shimmering, and this reduces the cooldown of Magic Barrier by 1.5 seconds at level 3, which I have it at. And the reason for this is because not only does using Magic Barrier protect her, which the more you can get that, the more you can protect yourself, but the more you have it, the more you can use it to get those 1,000 damage bursts, which in return makes it so you're getting more eliminations, which then in turn makes it so you're getting more barriers. So you kind of see what happens in this deck is lots of cooldown reduction, just constant most of the time having your abilities. Greater Good at level 2 is the next card, and you gain life steal against enemies with the maximum number of marks. This is good. The reason I like it is because it gives you some of that sustain, it gives you some of your health back if you catch an opponent off guard, or you just quickly burst down a lot of people. And finally, the last card in my deck is Dense Woods, and what this does is it increases the duration of the magic marks by 1.6 seconds at the level 2 that I have it at. Now, the reason for this is because the longer you have the duration for, the sooner you have a chance to get those big 1,000 chunk damages off. Now that we have our loadout, our talents, and our abilities all set and covered, let's get into what you do once you get into the game. Now, obviously, the first thing you need to do is buy your items. And there actually isn't that many necessary items for Moji. The two that I say are the most necessary is Cauterize, because with the constant familiar spray, you can be applying Cauterize every single second. And if you get Cauterize level 3, that is so beneficial to your team. Being able to have a constant Cauterize effect on someone, it is so beneficial. And the second one is Kill the Heal, because with her being a flanker, with any flanker really, I like to run Kill the Heal, so you get the self-sustain, so your healer doesn't need to worry about you as much. A few other items I would recommend running are like Haven, Resilience, because if Moji gets crippled, she's in a really bad spot, like any flanker. And if there's a sniper on the other team, snipers destroy Moji because their hitbox is so big. So if there's a sniper, you definitely want to buy that Haven. Finally, to wrap up this video, we're just going to go over some general tips and tricks you should probably know as Moji. Moji is really good on close quarters maps. So maps like Jaguar Falls, Stone Keep, she excels at, because obviously that forces enemies to be bunched up. And what that does is that enables her to get a lot more value out of her boom talent, which is her best talent to run. Now, the same thing goes the other way. If you're playing a map like Timber Mills, yes, there are some close battle fights, but the change of elevation is detrimental to her. She doesn't have any vertical mobility, just horizontal, which means flat maps are the best for her. Anything that goes up and down, including champions, which leads me on to my next point. Any champion that has high mobility is really hard to deal with as Moji. Like, they can just dash away, or Vora can like vine away, or anything like that. Because her familiar spray doesn't have that long of a range. And if you are dealing with another flanker, and they are able to create distance, they're going to have a long range attack, which all you're going to have is the familiar spit, which only does 300 damage, so you're in a really bad spot there. Other than that, that's really all the tips I can think of to give you guys on Moji. She's pretty good flanker. She's not my first choice flanker, but in the right situation, she is huge, and she is a really crucial key opponent in many situations and many ranked games. And not that I would say she's 100% pick, because she can be countered fairly easily, like I said, with the high mobility. But she can be very viable, which I think she's a sleeper pick. A lot of people don't think about her that much. With that being said, it is time for the video to end. I hope you guys found this guide helpful. If you watched all the way to the end, thank you guys so much. It is really appreciated. Make sure to leave a like. If you have a champion that I haven't covered yet that you want to see, check it down below in the comments, and I will get right on it and make a video on that champion. With that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.